Before we start grinding, let's talk about grinder safety. The pedestal grinder seems pretty harmless, but if the wheel is cracked, when you turn on the switch and it comes up to speed, it can explode. And little tiny pieces of grit embed themselves in your belly, and the doctors can't get them all out. So please, step to the side when you start the grinder. This is right after you put on your safety glasses, which aren't hair protectors. This doesn't do anything for your eyes. So, put on your safety glasses, step to the side of the grinder, turn it on, and let's grind some drills. This is that drill that I showed you with the chip out of the cutting flutes. We're going to grind that, even though it's going to take a tremendous amount of grinding. We're going to do it. Now, as I said, step to the side and start your grinder after you install your safety glasses. Also, set your tool rest so that it's close to the wheel. One thing we don't want is for the tool to go in between the wheel and the tool rest, which will cause the wheel to explode. So, don those safety glasses, step to the side, and here we go. Your hand position is really important when you grind a drill because it's going to determine how repeatable all your angles are. Notice I have my right hand up close to the tip. My left hand is holding onto the shank. Now, when I address this wheel, I'm going to basically copy this angle. I want this cutting lip to be flat when it touches the wheel, horizontal. Also, the hand holding the shank is lower. This will give us a positive rake on the primary clearance angle. Alright, I'm going to start grinding here. Notice I just flipped the drill over. So when I get done, I should have the same angle on both sides. It also keeps me from heating one lip up too much, although I should be dunking it more regularly. Let me grab my dunker here. Here's my dunker. It's a very nice one. It's brought to you by a famous coffee manufacturer. So regularly dunk your bit, and look at this, where I'm grinding mostly on the center part or the tip. See the sparks coming off the top? That means I'm grinding on that side. If I then turn a little bit, you can see that now the sparks are coming off the outside of the drill. We want that to be even. And when you get sparks all the way across, you know that you've duplicated the angle of what's there. This baby looks better already. As soon as I get that completely flat and that big gowie out of there, then we can move on to getting this drill sharpened correctly. So, grinding a little quicker now because I want to get all of that nasty damaged part off. And again, I'm trying to maintain the same angle every time I address the wheel. Now we're getting her down where a lot of that damage is missing. Now I'm going to slow down because I see the edge of the drill heating. See how it's changed colors here? We want to avoid that color change. So we do that by slowing down, minimizing pressure, and dunking regularly. Alright. Now I made a big fuss about how much work this was going to be, but as you can see, it didn't take that long. We're pretty much there. We got a little bit of damage on one flute right out at the outside. See that little round over there? Got to get rid of that. Once that's gone, our rough grinding is done and we can start worrying about precision. Notice, every time I flip this drill, I'm keeping that cutting lip horizontal. And I'm matching the angle that was on the drill by watching my sparks. I want my sparks to be all the way across the width of that cutting lift. Well, we've got enough of it gone. Now we can measure for the first time with our handy dandy drill gauge. What I'm doing is checking the angle and also the length. The angle looks good. That must be because I've done this before or something. On this flute, the angle is not good. Apparently I haven't done it enough. So I'm going to grind the outside because that's what's hitting the gauge. The center of the drill is not hitting the gauge, so I don't want to grind there. Now to correct that angle, I'm going to address the wheel in exactly the same way, and then I'm going to pull it off once I know the angle is correct and matching, and I'm going to turn it just a little bit so it's only cutting on the outside, and I'm going to hold that angle until I'm cutting all the way across the flute. And dunk. Let's measure. You can't measure too often. And now the angle is correct. Woohoo! Okay. Now the length on this is 13/64. On this side it's 12. This is the short flute. I'm going to grind that until they both measure 12.5. It just took a touch. Now it's 12.5 on that side, and it is 12.5 on this side. Now the center, this chisel point, is in the middle of the drill. That means that the drill will not cut oversized. So now basically I've got a very nice grind on the primary on both flutes. Now I just need to get rid of this heel, because if I don't, when the drill rotates, the heel will rub and this drill will not penetrate the material. I want you to notice the angle on this primary clearance when viewed from the edge. Notice that it is positive. If this were negative, I would have to regrind it, and it would mean that I'm holding the shank of the drill too high. You must lower the shank to get that positive rake on the primary clearance. Otherwise, the drill will not penetrate the material. It'll rub back here. Now, let's find out how to get rid of that heel. This is actually the most pleasant part of it for me. Again, address the wheel exactly the same way as you did in the previous step, and then just raise the tip while lowering the shank. Let's do that again. Just like this. What happens is the heel here just gets ground away in a nice smooth fashion. Notice how that's all one grind now? That's the goal. Let's do it on the other flute. Just raise the tip and lower the shank. You can go the other way too if you like, but I find if I start with the primary with sparks coming over the edge of the cutting lift and then move forward, I get a nice solid grind from top to bottom. That is now a drill that is sharp and ready to put into service. Thank you very much.